Hello and welcome to week 10 here in developmental psych. We're in the last, the last stretch here, 3 weeks left in this class, inclusive of week 10. So weeks 10, 11, and 12. Our final projects are coming up, so make sure you keep up on those. Reach out if you have any issues with that. And so in chapter 9, chapter before the last, we're talking about late adulthood. And there's many things to talk about, so it was kind of hard to pick out, what am I going to test people on? What am I going to use for my assessments? And so in the quiz, I ask you to reflect upon the memory patterns that you are experiencing or experienced with your subject. Now, there's theories about the decline in memory. There's theories about how we change memory over time. There are theories about what specifically do we remember of all the things that we remember. Why do we remember specific things? They stand out. And I actually have a little pet theory I'm working on, all that I think we deeply remember the events in our lives along with other memories, but we certainly deeply remember the events in our lives that correspond to major life changes. And kind of like a little bit of emphasis on Erickson's theory, if we think about, aside from the first three, but we think about things that have happened through stage 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we can really, when I've read biographies, I've read stories that are often kind of a part of those stages because they're important in terms of us transitioning from one stage to the next. So I'm asking you to look at all of that in a reflection based on your observations of individuals' memories and their successful ability to reach back, get memories. How did that happen? What did that look like? How does that correspond to different theories that we have about memory across the lifespan? So in the discussion, however, I'm having you consider something from a individual by the name of Dr. Bob Vian. Now, Bob Vian was an instructor at KVCC for decades. He worked in my department. He very highly educated individual, was a minister, had a couple doctorate degrees, maybe 6 or 7 master's degrees. I don't know. When he passed away, he was actually getting another master's degree at like 80 something years old. Very wise individual. And when I was constructing this class, he showed me this essay that he had done called Wagon Wheel, and I thought it would do him justice and certainly would add to the class this from the source, an individual who was in late life when he wrote this. And I'm asking you in the discussion to reflect upon this perspective of growing old and what that means from the Wagon Wheel, composed by Dr. Robert Vian. So it's a special essay for me personally because I asked him if I could use it in my class, and he gave me that permission. And so it's a cool. I think it's a pretty cool thing to include in this course. So that's it for this week. That's just chapter 9, getting ready to chapter 10. We're looking into the next couple weeks. Here is the time to get your biographies and your biography reflection done. So we're looking at that. My experience is the kind of 3 difficulties or barrier incidents associated with doing this project. First, finding someone. There's that, and then some of you instantly knew who you were going to do, some had to look. 2, setting up the times to meet. They might be at a distance. The third, and probably I think is the most important, is taking all these stories and putting them in order. Timeline. So I think we talk about memory patterns. as I think one of the patterns that you might see, and this might be part of your answer, is that someone would be talking about something and that cues another memory from some other time, and they might tell a side story. Well, where in the timeline does that side story go? It might not necessarily be even close to the one that you are talking about that time. So putting everything in a timeline so that the beginning of the paper is early life and things are in order all the way up until the present day. That's one of the bigger challenges of writing this paper. So it's enough. You get all the information, but then you have to compose this cohesive one voice story that you'll be submitting. So that's a bit of work. So that's what's ahead of you for the next couple weeks. We're getting into chapter 10 next week. We're doing 9, 10, and then there's a week of writing. There's no expectations except to write the paper, and then the week after that is the week in which both those papers are due. So that's it for this week. It's a beautiful day today. It looks like it's going to be beautiful for the week. Get outside, be well, and I will see you next time.